This project is based on a 5th grader's perspective on how to change the world. Basically, throughout this project, a 5th grader is writing a speech, an opinionated speech, on how to change the world. They get to choose a topic, and they go through the writing process. In the end, they create a visual using technology. Here are the standards associated with this project. The Common Core standards are listed here, and the ISTE standards are listed here. Some essential questions that also go along with this project. Basically, they are going to answer the questions: what problems do you notice in your world? How can you help? What type of action can you take? As you introduce the lesson, you are going to use Kid President. He's a great example to use because he is very relatable to the children. He gives some great speeches, but he also gives a speech on how to change the world. This provides the students some great ideas. Next, you will brainstorm some ideas using this type of chart: problems in the world, personal, community, and school-based. The next day, you will use Lino. This is great because you can attach some links to it. The challenge that I faced here is that the free website does not allow students to put their names on, but my students figured out that you could just put your name into the tags, and it worked really well for them. The next part of the process is the planning phase. I allowed my students to use Google Draw. The only tricky part about using Google Draw is making sure that students understand that adding a shape is different from adding a text box. I've added some links here if you'd like to check them out. After students are done using Google Draw, they will go in and work on their actual first draft, which is going to be done on Google Docs. After they're done with their first draft, they will go ahead and edit their peers' documents along with conferencing with the teacher. As you can see, the students are editing their peer documents through Google Comments. They used the checklist provided to them through the Lucy Calkins resources, which I will go over with you later. Next, they will do the presentation tools. The only thing different that I would have done here is allowed students to play with these tools a little longer before allowing them to actually go in and work on them. The only reason I say this is because I had a lot of questions on, well, how do I upload a picture and how do I log in? But overall, students did a pretty great job. Most of my students worked on Prezi. I had a lot less students working on Powtoons. So let's go in and look at an example of each. Here's an example of a student that chose the topic war, and he decided to do a Prezi. He really understood how to work the Prezi, and he was actually one of my students that walked around and helped a lot of my students with troubleshooting on logging in and adding pictures. Here's a student that decided to do Powtoons, and the thing that I like about Powtoons is that they have templates that they could choose from. So she did a pretty good job with hers. They also have images that you could choose from, so they are not tempted to use Google Images, which can give you inappropriate pictures. The only other thing with Powtoons that I suggest is you could see she kept on working on different Powtoons. She didn't realize they were there. She just thought they were being deleted until I showed her that if she scrolled down, they were all saved for her. It was really easy to differentiate this project because I used Lucy Calkins. She provides many different rubrics and checklists. The checklists actually come with illustrations, and they are provided in different grade levels also. And same with the rubrics, they are provided with different grade levels. So you decide what grade level your student is on, and you give them the corresponding rubric and checklist, which I will show you in just a second. I provided students with sentence starters, key vocabulary like persuade, convince, opinions, sight words, templates for their planning page, examples and models, and for AT support, I gave them the speech to text, and I allowed them to record their speech if they had social anxiety or any type of social disabilities. So here's a rubric from Lucy Calkins. I'm sorry, it's a checklist, and you will see the checklist with the pictures that are also provided. This is a grade 3, but if I scroll down, I could show you some grade 4, grade 5, and here are some of the anchor charts that I used. They show you how to use the checklist. They give you some sentence starters, talking to your audience. My students really know how to use these. And then here are some of the rubrics that go along with the content also. As I reflect on my lesson, I realized that my students were really motivated. The only way that I really would have changed my lesson is that I wish that I would have taught my students how to use Prezi and Powtoons a little better, and we would have really worked on logging in. I feel like that's where most of our time was wasted. I also think that there was a lot of time wasted with students not working every single day. So if you're going to do this project, try to do it every single day. I did allow students to do some extension activities if they finished early, and some of my students presented them in their speech. For example, the Powtoons that I showed you, she did a website called Free Rice, and then we found some more. We incorporated them into our centers, so it's actually become a lifelong activity that we're doing up until we leave for the summer. And then some reflection activities. These are some Google Forms that I used. As students finished their projects, they got to reflect on the overall project, on how it went, how did they do, how did I do as a teacher, how did the project go over well, and then the speeches of each student, which one was the most convincing and why do they think. Overall, I think the project was a real success. The students enjoyed themselves, and I enjoyed grading the projects. I'm glad that the students got a chance to explore the various kinds of technology.